Your ability to master business intelligence is equally as important as financial intelligence. Today, I want to take you on a journey, and that's introducing you to an 8-step journey that is taken from my best-selling book, one of my best-selling book titled Manager's Toolkit. And this journey will help you to understand 8 essential steps in building your business, your brand, your ideas, and to build it out into global relevance. So I will title this program 8 Steps to Building a Global Brand. And step 1 that we're going to look at today, we're going to call it Brand Traits Optimization. In looking at brand traits optimization, there is 4 essential concepts that I want you to walk away with today. 1, we will look at what is brand intention value traits, and you should know that. We're going to go deep into that. You should also know how to define your brand DNA. And of course, you want to know this in terms of building your brand traits optimization. You also need to know how to define your brand classification, absolutely necessary. Last but not least, it's important for you to know how to define your brand demographic, how to define your target market. And I want to show you that these 4 essential concepts under the heading of brand traits optimization at the end of this program, it will literally shape your ideas as to how to better build your brand and how to start building your brand to have local, regional, and international impact, to have internal and external impact. So let's get the ball rolling. The first concept that I want us to do that deep dive into and to get into the belly of is the brand traits intention, the brand intention value trait. What comes to mind when you hear this term, brand intention value trait? Your brand must have clear intention value traits. Whether you have a business that provides a product or a business that provides a service, whether you are your brand, it's important for you to ask yourself, what is your brand intention value trait? Now, from the get-go here, 2 things you want to stand out when you begin to think about your brand intention value trait. The first thing that you want to stand out is building a corporate culture that impacts the internal workforce. This is absolutely necessary. You want to ensure that your brand is having first and foremost an impact on the internal workforce. So one of the things that we have done to ensure that your internal workforce are given the kind of support that they really need to be loyal to your operation, we have designed that unique program that we call Blanket Workplace Self-Actualization. This indeed is a unique culture. It will help you to develop a culture that is unique and ideal to your workforce, individual needs, and the corporate vision that you have. A very unique program that we have built. And the primary objective behind the design of this program at Venture Capital Inc. and Global Branding and Marketing is really to help businesses to achieve several things with this new corporate culture. First, the culture is designed to have maximum internal impact. And by having internal impact, you can expect several things as follows. 1, you can expect a significant reduction in staff turnover, a significant reduction in absenteeism, which are two areas that affects the bottom line of the organization, because every time you have to bring in new people into the organization, you have to train, and there's a cost for training. But that's not all. There's downtime, and downtime causes you to lose much needed cash flow for that business. So having that unique culture that is going to have the strongest impact on the internal workforce is something for you to look at. Of course, I'm just scratching the surface here of the systems that we have that speaks to this issue. The second thing that you need to look at when you're looking at brand traits optimization is, again, what is your corporate culture to impact the external public? It is absolutely necessary that your brand must have impact on the final consumer. So in this case, you have to constantly ask yourself, what value is your brand adding? And what problem is your brand fixing? And you need to ensure that you clearly understand your brand intention value traits. This is what will really help you to make stronger impact on the on your consumers and achieve your business strategic objectives. So I really want you to think very seriously about what I'm saying here. And in the event that you don't have your organization culture already built to achieve this, I certainly want to encourage you to reach out to us at Venture Capital Inc. Reach out to us at Global Branding and Marketing. We have a team of persons that are all set and ready to give you the strategic intervention. So that's at the level of the brand intention value trait, and you need to know that. The second concept that I want us to look at is how to define your brand DNA. When we talk about your brand DNA, we are saying to you that it is absolutely necessary for you to understand what makes your brand stands out. What is your unique selling proposition? What is your brand differentiating factors? And there's a number of ways in which you can position your brand, your business, your ideas to be different. You could be different based on price. You could be different based on quality. You can be different based on the experience that the organization provides to the final consumers, to the internal workforce. So there's a number of things that you can do to ensure that your brand is different. Again, the topic is brand traits optimization. And one of the things that you want to do when you get into business or intend to get into business is to ensure that you are committing the time, the talent, and the resources to identify how to continue adding value to your products, your services, your ideas, year after year after year. If you look at one international product, iPhone, you recognize that every single year, iPhone brings out a different level of phone. They keep upgrading that phone all the time. That's to add new features, make the phone more dynamic, make it more relevant to the consumer dreams, hopes, and aspiration in terms of keep sustaining their interest. Now, along with this, they're also ensuring that they're staying one step ahead of the competition. In this regard, in building your brand DNA, your brand differentiating factor, your brand unique selling proposition, you want to keep all of this in mind in building that brand. So this is very, very important. The third step that I want us to look at is how to define your brand classification. Now, your business, your idea, your brand can fall into three categories. You can be a premium brand, you can be a complementary brand, or you can be a supplementary brand. And it's important for you to know this. It is knowing this is what allows you to be more specific in how your products and your services are targeted at the specific demographic. And we will talk about that in the next heading. You literally need to ask yourself who you're adding value to, and who in the marketplace you are fixing problems. So this in itself brings me to the fourth concept, and that is developing and you identifying how to clearly know your demographic, your target market. You need to put yourself in that position of strength where you know that you know that you know that this is your target market. And to know this is not necessarily the easiest thing for the average person in business to know. When we say understand your target market, what we are actually saying to you is that it's important for you to identify who you're targeting. And in identifying who you're targeting, it's important for you to understand their lifestyle, their culture, their social class groups, reference groups. This is literally what helps you to define, identify your target market. But let me explain some of the importance of doing this. Now, the way you go about doing this and the importance of doing this is because it is by identifying your target market, size, density, and dispersion. Here is where you're able to come up with accurate figures. And you would hear me, if you look back at my earlier videos, I keep emphasizing, it's important for you to know your figures, your business figures. And you can't understand your figures until you take the time to understand your market, which we call the market analytics. Now, what exactly do we mean by the market analytics in relation to clearly identifying who's your target market? Let me begin. One of the first things that you want to invest time, talent, and resources to know is your market size or the national economy size. So let's take, for example, you're dealing with a country that has 800,000 persons. You want to know that. Now, the next thing that you want to know is how this population is broken up into socio factors and economic factors. And by this, what do I mean? You need to know what percentage of this population live in poverty, extreme poverty, middle class, and upper class. Let's start with extreme poverty. So now you have a population with 800,000 persons. The extreme poverty is 19%. 19% is a number for business. This simply means that you have about 151,000 persons who are living in extreme poverty. That should mean something to you in business. This represents spending power. This represents knowing your target market. You need to know this. You may have 36% of that population that lives in poverty. That also represents a number. 36% represents 288,000 persons that are living in poverty, meaning that they are earning, but their income earning ability is not as strong as they would want it to be, and perhaps a number of persons would want it to be. You need to do that because a weak spending power says to you, if you're dealing with a premium brand, that that specific demographic cannot buy from you. And this again is one of the reasons why we keep saying that in business, everybody is never your target audience. You have specific demographic that you're targeting, and you need to know this. So as you break up the socioeconomic factors, you come one step forward, and that's where you start to identify the middle class population. Now, the middle class population is 30%. And 30% middle class population translate into about 200,000 persons. Now, if you're dealing with, let us say, FMCG and certain high class products, you have some of this demographic based on a number of reasons may be able to purchase from you, because they're in the middle class, which means that they have disposable income left over after they minus their monthly living expenses. Now, this again may be subjective, but it's clearly established that they have some more disposable income to spend. But this demographic, again, will make a choice between a premium brand, a complementary brand, and a supplementary brand. And in most cases, this demographic, because they're still trying to build economic wealth, they are most likely to go with a supplementary brand. And later on, I'll go into all of this to really help you to understand when you're doing the brand traits optimization, how to do it. When you're doing a specific demographic market targeting, how to do it. Now, you have a premium product. Your strategic and ideal target audience is what you're going to call the upper class. But the upper class in this case would only represent 10% of the entire population, and 10% of the entire population may only represent 80,000 persons. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because you're producing a premium brand, and when you do your market analytics, it clearly shows that 80% of the population, sorry, 10% of the population, which represents 80,000 persons, are your ideal target market. Now, here is where it becomes exciting and interesting, because here is where you can determine your figure. Because you are not calculating the potential of the entire market to buy, you are calculating the potential of the 10%, which is 80,000 persons, to buy your product. And this is what really informs you when you are doing your income projection, your expenditure projection, your NOI, and your ROI. These are important body of knowledge for you to have in terms of doing, building a brand. So the things that we look at today is brand traits optimization. And of course, in doing the brand traits optimization, you also want to do your market analytics, because this is by knowing the numbers, the number of persons to buy, the available cash that people have to invest in your product, that really helps you to understand the possibility of scaling your brand within that specific market. So these information are important. So in closing, I simply want to repeat the things that we look at today. Today you were introduced to a new concept, which is taken from one of my best-selling books, Manager's Toolkit. And we look today at 8 steps to building a global brand. We look at step 1 today, which is brand traits optimization. In looking at brand traits optimization, we look at lesson 1, we look at knowing your brand intention value traits. You need to know that. And in looking at this, we look at internal impact and corporate culture. We look at external impact and corporate culture. The second concept that we look at under this heading is how to define your brand DNA. You need to know that. The third concept is how to define your brand classification. You need to know that. Last but not least, we look at how to define your brand demographic or target market. All these are very important knowledge for you to have. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm a multiple best-selling author for several books, including Billionaire Codes and Manager's Toolkit. In the event that you are looking at this program for the first time and you've never liked or subscribed to this program, if you find the information interesting, I want to encourage you to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to this program, so you will be the first to get these daily broadcasts that we're going to be bringing to you to really help you in business. Again, I'm so happy to do this program for you, and I want to encourage you to reach out to us. I want to encourage you to log on to our sister company website, which is megamoneygy.com, www.megamoneygy.com. log on to that website and learn more about what our sister companies are doing to help businesses to scale with global relevance. Be blessed and see you on the other side.